The whole project is really specifically for people with criminal backgrounds and or substance use disorder history. It is a very specific demographic. It's always been a very specific demographic, and that demographic is notoriously marginalized, as well as underserved, as well as having a very limited income because of the jobs that they are able to get. So whether or not, this project was always about affordability. It was about affordability and getting zoning put in place in an area that is now called the Northside Cultural Business District. And all of these things were intentional. We intentionally set out to do the things that we did, always thinking that this was a population that was low income, that was definitely not able to meet the affordability issues throughout the city, which is why we specifically wanted to have a tiny home community that was specifically for them, which the public housing ordinance basically sets aside them and makes them a protected class, so that we can only allow people with criminal backgrounds and or substance use disorder history in these tiny houses that only have very, very specific income. So whether or not it's reporting, as people like to say, it was never about whether or not we were going to do that. We were always going to do that. We were going to do that regardless of whether it was a request or not. We actually put that in place because we know throughout the United States, tiny homes are very expensive to buy or to rent. And so we really wanted to give the opportunity for people with low income, with that criminal background and substance use disorder history, the opportunity to be first in line instead of last in line, and to be able to have nice, affordable homes that that they would be able to maintain and or buy at some point if that's what they wanted to do. And I'm sure everyone remembers that this project was really, very closely modeled in a lot of regards with the tiny house project in Detroit. So we didn't just come up with an ideal and say this is what we were going to do. We actually went, Maddie and I, the director of NACD, went to various places in Michigan and other places to make sure that we had a really good baseline to work from. So we definitely appreciate the questions. I know folks are really kind of new and not knowing exactly how long we've been working on this project, but it's a well thought out, well researched project. And like I said, with the pandemic, we are definitely behind the 8 ball, but are really ready to get underway. I think that changing the contract at this late in the game would be really an overreach at this point, because we are ready to begin construction. And I think that the reporting, we will do what we signed to do, which was to report every 3 years for 10 years. And we are happy to do that as we agreed. But I think anything other than that is really not in the capacity or scope of our ability to do at this point.